No one told me about saving for retirement. No one. No one taught me anything about finances at all. And here I am, 60 years old, single, and looking back at my life at how I had to figure it all out. And believe me, I didn't even think about retirement money. Well, I mean, I guess I did, but I didn't actually start doing anything about it after several huge financial losses and things like that. What I have saved now is only from less than 10 years. And I don't make that much money. And I've still been supporting my kids partially, so it's not that much. And so I wonder now, how are the younger people learning about finances? I spent hours in my car with my daughter last weekend. We went to visit my mother, and she was asking me about that sort of thing. And she's very curious and wants to learn and know. And believe me, I tell her and my son everything I know and that I've learned about saving for retirement and for about saving for everything in their life, for if they need to get a car, for if they ever want to try to buy a piece of real estate. I don't even know if that'll be possible, but you never know. I know the option of moving out of state. You know, we all live in California right now, which is very expensive. I'm not even going down that rabbit hole. But I was wanting to talk about finances and about the saving for retirement. And it's very frustrating to me that I was never taught anything. And I don't know if that was because I was raised in the 70s and got married in the early 80s. And I was raised to believe that I was supposed to be a housewife. Period. And I'm not supposed to know anything about money. In fact, my mother, who I've mentioned before, she's 92. My father died almost 7 years ago. So she was about 85 when he died. She had lived with her father and mother until she got married. And so she moved from her parents' home into her husband's home. And her husband took care of her. And when he passed away, he was 88 and she was 85. And she knew nothing of what to do. So my brother and I have had to take care of her. But I was raised with that same mentality that females are not supposed to really have to be bothered or shouldn't really know anything about finances. And I think that's a huge, huge, huge mistake. I think that everyone should be taught about life skills. And I think one of those huge life skills is finances. And it's not as though I didn't work. I had a job at 15. I worked from 15 years old until now. I had a brief break when my children were little, babies and little, that my husband at the time, he did give me the option of staying with the kids. And I think that that was wonderful. And so I was able to do that. But regardless of that, I did work. I know what money is. I understand how money functions. I understand what credit is. I understand how that functions. A lot of that is because when I was younger, 18, 19 years old, I misused credit. That was back in the 80s. And got into debt and had to pay all this debt down. It's like, oh, credit cards, okay. Well, so I learned about that. Then I learned about mortgages, and I learned about how those work and interest rates. And I did, over the years, deep dive over these things. And I've done investments in different things, but have been, I guess, a little bit too much of an Aries. That's my moon. And so I kind of flunked. I did really well, and then one misstep, one bad decision, and you can lose everything. So, and I did that. I've done that a couple of times where I've done really well, and then make a decision that was just the wrong decision, and I own it, and I lose everything. So I'm back at 60 now, and the last 10 years, I've been really, really conservative. At about 51 or ish, I don't even know exactly when it was, did decide to start getting more realistic about saving. And my kids were still living at home, and I was living in a town, like, I don't know if you'd even call it a townhome. It was a 2-story apartment, and with my kids and working full time, and, just had very little to save. But at some point, I did decide, my gosh, I'm going to be 60 really soon. 50 was a really hard hit for me, turning 50 and being alone and being like, oh my gosh, I need to start planning, and now I'm 60. So I did start sending money away. As I started a Vanguard account, an IRA, and just put as much as I could into it. Tried to max out the limits at the time, and did my best every year. And also had a savings account, did my best every year. And I don't know. I'm living as frugal as I can, so I can maybe retire someday. So when did you start saving for retirement? I mean, does everyone automatically know that you're supposed to save? I mean, I know there's going to be a certain amount that I get through Social Security, but if that even exists past 2035, that may not even exist. So I can't rely on that, and that wouldn't really be enough for me to live on it. So I need more savings. And I did get into some debt, helping my children launch into adulthood. I was debt-free and putting money into an IRA and a savings account. And then when my children got to the point where they were ready to launch, they both needed some help, paying for college. And I figure, you know what? I can carry the debt better than they can. I don't want to really launch them into the world, burdened with huge debt. And I know a lot of people would be angry with that and not agree with that, but that was my choice. So I do carry some extra debt, helping my children launch, but that's life. I would rather me do it than have them have to do it themselves. Start life with $100,000 of debt or $50,000. I don't have that much. Anyways, so that's my little rant about finances and saving for retirement, and that I was never taught anything. I had to learn it myself. And I'm struggling right now because I know in 3 months it's the end of the deadline for last year to put money in the IRA. So I haven't hit my maximum for last year yet, and I need to scramble to try to do that. I hope I'm able to do that, because I'm also hoping, I'm probably going to have to work till I die, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to max out my IRA every year. Anyways, let me know what you think, and remember that I appreciate you, and I love ya.